What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to a live. This is not KG messing about saying it, and it's
we're not live. Hey, welcome to the pre-record. Shout out IMMINENT. Shout out who else? Let me look at the chat right now. Yeah, shout out you. Shout out Lil Yo. Thanks for the super chat, bro. Can't read it out.
No. Do not listen. This is real deal.
Yes.
Live Trinity, episode 17, lively powered by Dangar.
Dan's only on the floor 2024. Eric Ten Hag, maybe not the manager anymore. Dangar. I tell you what, 17 weeks in, 17 episodes in, and for the first time we are live. And this is episode 17, version 2. Because there was a first draft to this episode that maybe it will never see the light of day. Maybe it might be released to members or something like that. That would be a nice perk for the members, wouldn't it, to see what this episode
definitely put it out
like.
As a members show. Definitely.
Yeah, what it like pre-news earlier on today. It was a bit different. There was a lot of managerial talk, a bit of focus on the FA Cup final and what have you. But my goodness me, did that drastically change this afternoon with all of the news that's come out. And since then, I mean, Flex, we were live a couple of hours ago already. There's more stuff. I've got more quotes. I've made more graphics.
We said that. We literally said that. We literally said that would happen. Melissa Reddy's in there as well.
Yeah, there's Melissa Reddy. There's one from Simon
as well.
Stone.
Supposed to be on there tomorrow, 11. Check in as well on Sky Sports tomorrow, 11 a.m. with Melissa Reddy, actually. So I'll be on there. It's all going off. Owen, this is not like a normal Trinity. You're bringing quotes. You're bringing breaking news over to you.
Yeah, so I can start off once again with the stuff that happened earlier on. In case you missed it, you may have. Starting off with the stuff from The Guardian earlier on today, saying that Manchester United have decided to sack Eric Ten Hag after the FA Cup final against Manchester City, suggesting that it doesn't matter, basically, what happens tomorrow. He indeed is gone. It carried on by saying a well-placed source said that even winning the cup would not save Ten Hag. The decision to change the manager will be the most significant move made by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his allies since INEOS took a minority stake and control of football operations. It then goes on to talk about the possible replacements, people they could potentially be talking to. But it says at the end, United declined to comment after being approached by The Guardian. Now, interestingly, Simon Stone, who, just to kind of preface this, means this is the line he's got from the club, because he would have gone to speak to the club. He said, I can't be bothered to do the whole impression for the whole article. I'll be here for 24 hours. He said, Manchester United manager Eric Ten Hag is preparing for the FA Cup final, not knowing where the reports that he will be sacked, no matter what the results, are true. He carried on by saying rumours about Ten Hag's future intensified on Friday morning before The Guardian reported the Dutchman would lose his job in the aftermath of whatever the outcome of the Wembley meeting with Manchester City on Saturday. United have refused to comment on the story, saying club sources are adamant their focus is purely on the second consecutive cup final meeting with Pep Guardiola's side and trying to end the season, what has been a tortuous season, on a high. It is being stressed they remain committed to an end of season review, after which a decision on Ten Hag's future will be made. It then says, BBC Sport understands there has been no contact with Ten Hag or his representatives by United. Replacements have been suggested in the form of Thomas Tuchel, Gareth Southgate, Mauricio Pochettino, Kieran McKenna, and others. Ten Hag has said this week that he is planning for next season. Of course, that was in his press conference. There is a bit more by Melissa Reddy, which we can circle back to in a bit. But just on the Simon Stone stuff there, very interesting because, of course, Flex, knowing how the BBC operates, that would have mean that he's literally messaged Manchester United.
The bit I was looking at there is where it says Man United manager Eric Ten Hag is preparing for the FA Cup final, not knowing whether reports he will be sacked, no matter what the result. They are true. Like, that's true that he's going into that game.
No, he's saying he's saying he doesn't know whether or not they are true. Basically saying he has no idea if the stuff that was written about him earlier on is accurate. He's going into the game with the same questions that we have about his future, essentially.
Which goes against Fjortov, who's saying from Arsenal.
Yeah, and also that latter part there where it says, the United are basically denying that they've been in contact with him or his representatives about that kind of stuff. But once again, and you'll see this in the Melissa Reddy bit later on, once again, the line from Manchester United is, no, we just haven't made a decision yet. And you go, well, That's a very strange way to answer those kinds of questions, isn't it? Is Erik Ten Hag going to be the manager next season? We haven't made a decision on that yet. We've got an end of season review process going on. You go, well, that seems a bit odd, does it not? KG, thoughts?
It's mental because it's like we know less now. Smile, KG. We know less, you know. Is it over? Only God knows. You know, that's the honest truth. Like, we don't know where this is going. We don't know if he, like, it seems like he is. It seems like someone's leaked this, but then I kind of was resigned to the, you know, the young on Fjortov comments. When that came out, I said, okay, well, they told him time ago, this, that, and the other. But BBC will do their due diligence. They're not going to put anything out for no reason. So them coming out now and saying, listen, Ten Hag is in the dark about this, just makes it look more shoddy. It makes it look a bit more embarrassing. It makes it look like LVG 2.0, like we haven't learned from this, you know. And again, like, my fingers are still crossed. Again, it's Man United first above anything. Now, INEOS have to just get decisions right. This is a big decision they're making. So far, they've looked good with things. This is a bit worrisome. It is, in terms of how they, because now we look like schoolboys. First of all, there's been emails sent to Dan Ashworth, which was like an embarrassment, really. On top of that, there's conversations with McKenna like weeks ago. Everything we're doing right now, and we're doing stuff that we're not supposed to really be doing. This is like, it's gardening leave. So now then you're telling me the next move is, it's like the triple threat of the next move we've done is said the day before, the day before an FA Cup final, the most biggest game of Man United's life, to throw that out to the players and say, it's distracting. If whatever happens in this result, don't try. The manager's gone anyway. That's mental.
Message, yeah.
It's a bad message. It is like, even like you basically said, no matter what you do, it's futile. Like, because, and I know they probably would try, but then you can't. Stability is important for players. They say they need that. So now you're telling me that they don't know, their future is really up in the air. Just like everyone, all the staff at Old Trafford, all the staff at Man United, nobody knows anything. And it's cool in the beginning, but INEOS have to do something. They have to come out and address some stuff as soon as possible.
Well, it ain't going to be now.
I think to be honest, I think the players' future is up in the air regardless of what happens. A lot of those, I mean, we said it in the show, I think that hasn't come out, but saying that a lot of those players, you can go through them, that are going to be involved, whether they start or not tomorrow, going, that's probably going to be their last game for Manchester United. I think I was thinking about this once we finished up earlier on, and I was thinking that, you know, if you want to look at INEOS, what they have absolutely categorically failed at is their aim, regardless of what the timeline is, because like you saying, KG, the timeline is getting a bit more murky now, whether he knew, whether he didn't know, if he was told, when he was told, what have you. But they wanted or hoped that this stuff wouldn't come out until after the FA Cup final. It has come out partially yesterday, and now even more so today. Whether or not you believe it is up to you. But that information is coming out, and they have failed in their ability to keep that contained. Now, I think it's important to stress that I don't think it's INEOS with loose lips that sink ships here, going like they're the ones going to people of like, oh, yeah, it's going to be McKenna, or oh, yeah, we're talking to McKenna. But what they need to realize is they have massively underestimated the ability to contain information at Manchester United.
Yeah.
No disrespect. It's not Nice, mate.
Yeah, other clubs, even bigger Premier League clubs, might be easier. People don't really care that much. At Manchester United, journalists, fans, they care about everything. Any kind of information, no matter how big, how small, because they can blow it up into any size they want. So they need to realize, if you want to keep something close, you keep it close by not telling anyone. I mean, anyone, because it will come out. And what they have done is, like, people thought we're underdogs anyway, with no chance coming into the game against City tomorrow. But you just added a little extra wrinkle onto that, because now you're going into the territory, to KG's point, of, well, what's even the point? You know, so who's going to run for a guy that might not even be here? Players, who's going to run if they're not even going to be here? You know what I mean? Like, and Melissa Reddy says this in her article, like, it's unbelievable that the future of someone can overshadow a cup final, but it has. From a Manchester United perspective, we're not talking about the team lineup anymore. We're talking about what's going to happen afterwards. And that is a failure on the part of INEOS. Not that they've let that leak, but that has managed to get out. The buck stops with them. and how this is all operated over the last 48 hours, it's pretty shambolic.
It looks like they've lost control.
Can I ask a question, Chris?
Yeah.
New manager, whoever comes in, even if it is McKenna, are you gonna give them? Are you gonna because rip it up, start all over again? Yeah. How long are you gonna give them? You willing to give them 2 to 3 years, as we said, rebuild? That's what we have to start talking about.
Someone said this to me earlier today. So Flex, you said you're gonna give Ten Hag 3 years, but look, now it's 2, and you're like, do you know what I've actually learned? It ain't necessarily about this thing of trying to write this unwritten contract of like, I will definitely give this amount or that amount. Like, don't get me wrong, like a season is like a minimum within like if my man loses like the first 10 or 15 games on the bounce, something's wrong. But like, so there's permeating factors that change. Like, I just feel like to say like definite 3 years, and I don't care what happens, I'm not changing my mind. No, I will just back the manager till I feel like I can see. It's all different for everyone. Till I feel like I can see the right amount of changes for the right amount of time, and you scope it out. You add up what's been spent versus who's been brought in versus who's been let go versus injuries versus this is first season. That there's a lot. Like first season is usually untouchable. You have to let someone have their first season, unless the David Moyes thing. Don't get me wrong. Like cool, but I think we're too attached to this. Like, okay, so if the new guy comes in, sign this contract and say you will not change your mind until then. I'm like, well, that's just not how life works. I'm not saying that you should be able to just flip-flop after 2 minutes, of course, but if we're just taking a real look at this thing, there's just a trade-off from all aspects. A manager's job when he comes into any job, regardless of any state of any club, is to show some buyback, is to show some level of improvement, some level of system, some level of, upwards trajectory. No matter how small, it's his job. He must do it because you go to training every day. You have these players in training. It's your instruction. It's your coaches. I don't care how bad the ship is. You should still be able to show something. It's INEOS's job. I get it. To show that they're going to back this manager and show that they're changing and give him targets and take players out the team and stuff like that. It's the player's job to show that they can carry out instructions. So it's so multifunctional. I think it's too easy, which I've actually learned. I'm saying this what I've actually learned from the Ten Hag thing to say, I'm going to give him 3 years, no matter if it's 2.5 years of dross and 6 months of good. I'm going to give him 3 years, whether it's 1 good year and 2 bad years. At least I fulfilled the 3 years I said I was going to. No, that's not like football is so ever changing. Like you can't, I don't think we can sign up to that. I just think you have to be measured.
Do you think we can stay on this level of like, there's no stability? Do you think we can continue doing this?
Stability needs to come.
With all the things that we're doing, like where we're going as a club, we can't be back here in how many months again? Like if the new guy comes in, let's say if the new guy finishes 7th next season, it's not good enough. But then we couldn't just get rid of.
Depends on the context. Depends what you see. I agree. Depends what you see.
That's what I was just about to say. I was like, I think this is kind of Flex's point here, and I do think that this is a bit of a learning throughout all of this. Is we have to be very careful not to paint ourselves into a corner of the sense of, well, I said 3 years, and then what if 2 years in it's not going very well? Does that mean you're not allowed to be like, I don't know about this or whatever, because you said it was going to be 3 years. Like there has to be, and this is something that I think that we've sort of missed a bit this season, is football is, and it always has been, a results-based business. I've said this time and time again. If you don't get results, you can't be shocked when you're under pressure. Now, obviously, then you get into the context of why you haven't got results. That's with the case of Ten Hag, isn't it? They'll go mitigating circumstances. They'll talk about the injuries. They'll talk about stuff off the pitch. They'll talk about the stuff above him with, INEOS buying in and what have you. And they're valid reasons.
Which are all valid.
Which are all absolutely valid. And you can't sweep those under the carpet. But at the same time, I think for instance, you said, we can't end up here in 18 months' time. Well, we could, because whoever we bring in, if it's McKenna, if it's Thomas Tuchel, if it was Pep Guardiola, we managed to get him from Manchester City. If he didn't get the results in 18 months' time, he'd be under pressure. Because any Manchester United manager, if you don't get results, you're going to be put under pressure. And I think as well, I mean, Eric Ten Hag knows that. Eric Ten Hag, it would be the same if he was at Ajax and he didn't get results there. But it's the same at any club. If you don't get results, you're going to be under pressure. If you finish 8th in the Premier League, it's going to be under pressure.
No, but if we're going to start this whole, because now that whole, remember when we used to talk about the whole Arteta thing, right? If the next guy comes in, you're going to say, well, this is their guy. This is their almost the Edu type thingy appointment. So whatever happens, they have to stick with this person. They can't just say, look, we're going to change, especially if we decide to go young. Especially if we decide to go young, we got to say, well, now this is the process. So what we're doing potentially is we're going to reset the clock. We're about to reset the clock after on end of the FA Cup final, the clock goes back. Yeah. And we're saying
already though, KG, that's the question.
True.
Did it go back when INEOS came in? Because that's my theory anyway. My theory is this idea of we talk about, here we go again, ripping it all down. I think it was ripped down a while ago. I think it was ripped down when INEOS bought in the first place. The moment that INEOS bought in and senior people left Old Trafford, chief executive, football director, that clock's been reset a while. If anything, it's been ticking a while because clearly Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox, they've been doing meetings. Like the rebuild or the restart started a while ago. It's not after the game tomorrow. I think it started a long time ago.
I agree. I think it's really difficult to place like this timescale of absolutes because, as we've seen in football, it doesn't work in absolutes. And the thing about the Arteta thing, you're right. Once INEOS attach their name to manager X or manager Y, whoever it will be after Ten Hag, because it's looking like it's going to go that way. We still don't know yet. He could stay. Be amazing turnaround if he stays from this position. Wow, that would be incredible. But it feels to me like he's going to go. But like you said, they would probably give that guy an extra bit of leeway because it is their guy, which Ten Hag is clearly doesn't seem like he is getting. But there would still have to be some level of showing some progression. There just absolutely has to be. It's not always in the form of, like you said, that you're right. If we finish 7th next year, it's not good enough. We finish 8th again, not good enough. But
Tom Huddleston is leaving as well. He's the part.
End of the season.
Yeah.
So he's
There's gonna be so much change, man. There's
so much change, and that's where we're like, actually, look, the times have just gone with it now. Eric Ten Hag expecting to be sacked after Saturday's FA Cup final.
I was just looking to find the
Paul Hurst.
There we go. Found it.
Go on, and we may as well just go into this now. The times have just gone.
Well, it's not. It's one of those when you have to log in, so I can't get the full thing. But the article has been posted in the last 20 minutes, and again, it's from Charlotte Ducker and Paul Hurst from the Times, saying that Eric Ten Hag is expecting to be sacked after Saturday's FA Cup final. Manchester United, the line again, insists no decision has been made, but Ten Hag is anticipating getting the sack. So even that's a different wrinkle to this now, saying that he's anticipating. You got Simon Stone earlier on going, well, he doesn't know whether it's true or not. He doesn't know, blah, blah, blah. Now you got the Times going, no, he's expecting it. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that he knows, by the way. That could probably him coming to the same conclusions that, all three of us and a lot of the United fans today are going, well, there's a lot of noise here. And that's what I'd say about Ten Hag. He's not a fool. He's not an idiot. If he's yesterday, when you hear, actually, Man United have had talks with the representatives of Kieran McKenna, if you're the Manchester United manager, you can only go to one conclusion as to why that's going to be the case. And you go, because I'm probably not going to be in a job very soon if they're having talks about who could potentially replace me at this point. So whether or not, again, that's based on conversations he's had with Manchester United, which according to Simon Stone, it isn't. Maybe that is his reaction to all of these stories is going, I think I'm probably out of it, because of, let's face it, they're having talks with other people. And once again, it paints this picture of a lame duck manager preparing for the biggest game of the season, knowing it's going to be his last game. He knows it. The players know it. The fans now know it. Like, what kind of atmosphere, what kind of picture or, environment does that paint for tomorrow? It's crazy.
Guys, there's a lot of super chats. I'm going to get through them. V says, and it's live. Ten Hag with a sad face, crying emoji. Santiago says, true or not, I feel it is incredibly disrespectful from Jacob Steinberg and Jan Arga Fortov to release this 2 days in capitals before the final itself. D-Bush says, it's a new dawn. Fasten your seatbelts and brace yourself. Yeah, I did that with Stratton earlier today. Ahmed says, if the INEOS strategy is to emulate what happened with Van Gaal winning the FA Cup after essentially being let go is pathetic, in my opinion, 24 hours before a final. Kelly James says, if Ten Hag is actually leaving, we must get a new goalkeeper because Onana's passing ability might not be enough to cover his weaknesses, goalkeeper positioning and saving with the new coach. We ain't even thought that far yet about like Eric's bought these types of players, but then Pochettino or Kieran McKenna.
Other breaking news as well. Apparently, Martial's not travelled with the squad.
Yeah,
I mean, seen him with the squad, but
we saw it and went, all right, cool. Like, but that's all that I just went, all right, it's just typical. All right, no problem. You know, Kelly James also says Onana fits Ten Hag's play style, so his weaknesses and strengths can be covered if Ten Hag has his favourite team. I don't see how that will play out with a different coach because his other abilities are subpar. Yeah, I mean, look, that's kicking the conversation on quite a lot. That's more saying, okay, Ten Hag's gone. Look at our playing squad. What's manager X going to think of this player? What's manager Y going to think of that player? That you're right. Like he was bought for a specific manager who really, vetoed him and wanted him, and for a specific style, which we haven't been able to play this year because the manager said, like we said, with too many injuries, couldn't play the style that we wanted. So we've seen some of the worst of Andre Onana, to be fair, because of that. And would I say we've seen some of the best of him? Probably not. The best is yet to come. But yeah, it's a good point about what happens to the players that Ten Hag's bought. I mean, look at what has happened to Anthony. Even he's given up with that. So it is crazy. But just more reports coming in. And I'll say this, guys. I don't know how you got feel. I would say it's over. There's so much there. I don't see how, win or lose tomorrow, all that just goes away and Eric continues. I can't see it. I think it's all over.
Yeah. It feels like, when it's in transfer season and yet you haven't heard from Ornstein, you haven't heard from Romano about, the actual bid or the actual being signed on the dotted line or whatever. But you see so much about, all of these other reporters and these other reports. And it's a combination of things, isn't it? It's the information from other people and it's also the silence from the people that matter. That combined speaks noise. It speaks volumes, doesn't it? It really does. And also as well, I tell you what is quite deafening too in the sort of silence is that, yeah, you can see those lists of like, oh yeah, Pochettino, Tuchel, or Thomas Frank and stuff like that. But realistically, it looks like it's not only is it done for Eric Ten Hag, it looks very obvious that it's going to be Kieran McKenna. Like all the other stuff
does feel like
about Thomas Tuchel getting like all that's disappeared. Like really, it's like it's going to be McKenna.
KG, enter the chat.
Can I ask you if I'm in the centre, please? Am I where I need to be?
Yeah. Why have your thing gone? What's happened? What have you done?
Move to your right a little bit, KG. Move to your right a little bit, KG.
All right, cool. Wait, like as in
the other.
Yeah,
right.
but he looks all right on the 3 bar. It's fine. Stay there.
He's got to move a little bit.
What, like this way?
There you go. If you're there, yeah.
If I'm there, is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. KG's whenever we do these shows, whatever, he's one of these people that he just starts drifting like this as the show goes on. And by the end of the show, he's like here with just the eye just poking out or something like that.
Oh man, you know what?
KG,
yeah.
On that Kieran McKenna thing, right? Because Owen's made up a value, not made up. Owen's raised a valid point that not only does it look like Eric Ten Hag's going, it does have this feeling amongst we think that anyway. Let us know what you guys think at home. There is a lot in Carve Voices noises around Ipswich Town manager Kieran McKenna. Now, what are your feelings surrounding that potential?
And just before you say that, even more coming from this Times article.
Oh my Lord.
Kieran McKenna will wait on Manchester United
before
making a decision on his next move. His preference would be a return to Old Trafford. And KG, because people didn't say this earlier, and I think this is direction that Flex is pushing you in. You said some stuff earlier on in the lost episode of the Trinity. Do you care to repeat them here?
Well, yeah, I feel the same, man. I don't want McKenna. I'd rather have Ollie, and I don't want Ollie, is what I'm saying. So I just want you to understand how the level of this is. It's like, I really don't want McKenna because I feel the club is way too big. It's a different situation. You're not the coach. When you was here as the coach, bro, you were doing sparring. This is the real fight. This is the heavy lifting. I feel that for this club, as toxic as it's been, you need the right person here. And yes, we tried different managers, but if the three that's available, you can't tell me that he's the best in class. You can't tell, is McKenna better than Tuchel? You can't tell me that. Is he better than Poch? You definitely can't tell me that. I'm not like, and is he? I don't believe he's better than Ollie.
Do you see McKenna and Ollie as basically two sides of the same penny? They're one and the same because McKenna was part of that coaching stuff before.
And at least Ollie's a legend, so you can almost, like, it was the love that let us overlook some of Ollie's what Ollie couldn't do. There was the love that we said, you know what, this guy's created like so many special moments. You wanted this fairy tale to end. This guy's not coming in with a built-in fairy tale story. He's not the guy that is brought us the, I don't know, got us the treble. He's not a guy that scored these late amazing goals. We don't feel that level of connection to McKenna like we feel for Ollie.
Is he just a good? Have they just looked at style of football? Up and coming manager, young, like Arteta learned, like Xabi Alonso learned. Like, I think
it's important because Arteta, yeah, he could be a good manager, but what can get you through the bad times is knowing that, well, this is really one of our own. And Arteta was an Arsenal captain, bro. Arteta, like, some people can go to some good times with Arteta and say, you know what, willing to overlook because how good will it be? Your footballers, we romanticize things. We romanticize appointments. I don't know what the romantic angle is for him in this stage. And when it goes bad, you say to yourself, well, you feel back,
even when that's a romantic story.
Well, it's not the level of, it's not the same. It's not the same though.
It's Ollie got a Solskjaer. I mean, but there aren't many players that's going to be like that.
Ollie, we felt bad when Ollie done that video when he was crying and he had to end it all at Man United because you knew this guy was Man United through and through. You wanted it to work. It just couldn't. I don't have that connection to McKenna like I did to Ollie. So there was loads of stuff that we was willing to override. And there's going to be next season, it's not going to be easy. We're not going to have it our way. And that's the part that you need to stay locked in and say, you know what, this is our guy, former legend of the club. This is why we're backing him to the hill. It's going to be harder. He has to prove himself.
The McKenna thing,
I would rather Tuchel, man. I'd rather Tuchel.
No, I do agree. The McKenna thing, I've said it many times, like in the lead up to when I sort of saw that people were after him. I feel like Brighton would be the perfect place for him. I think a lot of us echo that. You know, well-run club, the expectations lower. They all at Brighton, they kind of all come up together. There's always kind of like a newer manager who's finding his way. There's new, younger players coming from different leagues around the world that are finding their way, and the fans accept that. It would be. But then I have to, because you're staunch, he shouldn't come here, just for balance. How do you know? I think we are, although what I would say, although I do agree that he shouldn't get the job, there is a bit of my brain that says we are in a position now whereby we can't hand on our heart say what the right thing to do actually is. Like Tuchel coming in, there's no guarantees with anything. And how do we not know that we're in a position where the new manager or the next manager might be someone extremely young we didn't know, didn't have any idea of, didn't think it would happen, instead of the household names which we always go after or we have done, the new flavor of the month, you know? How do we know? Football's a crazy game. But I agree with you. Me personally, and with what KG said, I think Brighton would be the next thing. This is a massive, massive job. And of course, Kieran McKenna would wait to find out what he would snap this. Tuchel would snap this job up. What's his face? Poch would snap this job up. Yeah. He would. Anyone. So, but just from an INEOS perspective, not my perspective, because I don't believe Kieran McKenna should get the job. I think it's too big. Like I said, Brighton would be perfect, and he should stay away, because we actually like Kieran McKenna. Stay away from Chelsea, because he just get mashed up there as well. But from an INEOS perspective, they might just think, well, young, up and coming, we like his football, let him try, let him cook, which I think I do think would be a mistake.
Well, a bit more news. So Darmesh has tweeted, And he has said that Ipswich Town majority shareholder Ed Swartz is in the UK for talks with CEO Mark Ashton and Kieran McKenna over a proposed new deal for McKenna. Hope is a lucrative offer may convince him to stay. McKenna is on Chelsea's list. Manchester United have held talks with his representative. So once again, Sky Sports, Dharmesh saying that, Man United have held talks. They're really doubling down on that story, that is a thing. And I think with the speculation surrounding McKenna of if it's not Manchester United, it could be Chelsea or it could be Brighton. I mean, the chances of him staying at Ipswich are pretty slim to none. And I don't think that will be swayed by money either. Ipswich gave me a load of money, so I'm going to stay. I don't think it's going to be about that at all. I think that might be just last-ditch pie in the sky. Maybe he takes those talks out of respect for the people he's worked with. But I don't know about that. But, maybe you should talk about this from just a wider thing for Kieran McKenna. Someone put it in the chat right there. Nessie, McKenna is the belle of the ball. It's true. Like, for whatever reason, because of these back-to-back promotions, and I guess because we spoke about it with the Vincent Kompany thing before, clearly the style of play has caught the eyes. I've seen some reports there, people going, look, INEOS really like him. they really like him. He ticks the boxes of now, for whatever reason, is in vogue for a manager, a big club. He's young. It's almost like because he's unproven at the top level. That's almost a good thing.
The ambiguity is that's
a good thing. We've got
that mystique.
It's like that television show. Have you seen this TV show? No. I'll tell you what's brilliant, mate. You got to watch it. And then 7 seasons in, when everyone watches it, you go, that's a bit shit now. But you know what I mean? That's what it's a bit like. Everyone's looking for the next, and everyone's looking for the young next big manager. But like KG's point, which is obviously an incredibly valid point, is it's a massive risk because he's never managed in the Premier League before. Imagine, think of it from a historical point of view. How often would this have happened in sort of modern history that you've never managed in not only the Premier League, a top league in Europe, and you could get the Manchester United job? Even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managed at Cardiff. You know what I mean? And to go
in the Prem,
exactly. To go into,
it's like Vincent Kompany though. Like I know he was at Anderlecht. Did he play Champions League at Anderlecht?
But that's me. But even that he's in the the Belgian league, in the top league, where it's not like the Championship, a secondary league. I mean, it is like the Xabi Alonso thing, isn't it? Of going well, he was at Real Sociedad B, and that was kind of his, I don't know, apprenticeship, I guess, to an extent. Pep. He was in Barca B. Zidane was in, Real Madrid's B team.
But nobody bat an eyelid that Zidane took over because he's Zidane.
Because they were captains. They were big players at their club.
But Xabi Alonso's one, the interesting difference with that is that, no disrespect, he took over Bayern Leverkusen, never won a league title.
They were 17th at the time.
So so that is like Kieran McKenna going to Brighton, probably worse. It's even lower than that. Like, say, I tell you what, Kieran McKenna. Well, Ipswich, you go first time in the league. I know it's not Leverkusen's first time in the league, but just low down, no expectation. Then he's done a madness and done Invincibles. So it isn't like he got the Real Madrid job straight away, because that's what the equivalent of Kieran McKenna getting this job is like. Even though he's managed for 2 seasons at a lot lower level, the jump up in golfing class, even in a shit Man United where we're like, all right, mate, Man United ain't that good. Relax yourself. I get that. But just the badge, the institution, the name of what it is, the task.
It's a bit like Nagelsmann. It's a bit like Nagelsmann with him in Germany. I mean, someone that his career ended really, really early. He was managing in the Bundesliga when he was early 30s. And he was at Hoffenheim and they did really well, got in the Champions League and what have you. I mean, I guess McKenna's always been viewed as somewhat of a bit of a, I say prodigy, but he was at Spurs. And then when he came into Manchester United and he was the assistant manager at the time, everyone was like, this guy's mid-30s, early 30s. He's assistant manager at Man United. Wow, that's crazy, because Jose was the first to pick him, wasn't he, to be alongside him. Wow, that's surprising. But there's a big jump between, a prodigy, someone of guys got a lot of potential to be, hot seat, Manchester United. Same seat Sir Alex sat in, but actually a little bit different dugouts as well. But you get my point, like that. and KG, and you brought out KG as well. Experienced managers, even people like Jose, like Louis van Gaal, have sat in that press room in the Jimmy Murphy Centre and been ripped to shreds by the journalists because managing that room's impossible, let alone like a 38-year-old.
The knives come out. Like maybe it'll be different for McKenna because it's a British manager, so there may be a different level of less weight. Let's give him time, but this is Man United. This is a team that's ruined a lot of people's childhoods. This is a team that everyone has a certain feeling towards this guy, and you'll just hear it really quickly. You'll hear how the club will respond or how the pundits will respond, saying it's a shocking appointment. You're talking about bringing someone that's really experienced. We need experience. That's the truth, man. With everything that's going wrong at this club, you need to be able to look and say, well, where's the leadership? We questioned Ten Hag's leadership at times this season, and that's fair. That's okay. That's again, if we're moving on from Ten Hag, it is what it is. With the position that he's left us in, being 8th, you can almost expect this if football's a results business. But then what you want to do is the next appointment must make sense. And I'm not willing to gamble. A team that before I would say, yes, we can gamble because we've had it our way for so many years. We haven't. We're getting into year 10, 11 of not competing for the title, being a huge amount of points off these teams. Are they saying that McKenna's the guy that can get us a title? Remember what INEOS said. We want to win a title in less than 3 years. Are we now committing to say, well, McKenna's that guy? If he is, and that's what they all believe, then we'll be on this hype train. I'm not sure. I have serious reservations considering. I have reservations of, well, you're going to talk to these, when we even try to bring players in, well, what players say are waking up in the morning saying, you know what, McKenna's the coach I want to play for. I'm joining this club because McKenna's here. I don't know if it's that attractive of a name to get players when we're competing with another club who has a more, another manager. And we've seen players will make the move because they like who's at the club.
But guess what though? People said that Poch is someone who develops young players and can be part of something that's a bit longer. But most of our fan base said absolutely not. Awful. No chance. Who would you rather?
I'd rather
chat. Who'd you rather have chat? Poch, or Kieran McKenna? Like I know you could say,
what they said.
But just I've just asked the question now. We'll just see. When it was Kieran McKenna, when it was sort of Poch before this Kieran McKenna thing really started to kick off, most people were almost unanimous saying, nah, no chance, mate. Poch bottled it in the cup final this year. He's won at Liga. He even lost out in the league there 1 year. What's he done? Like this good run with Spurs. But then other people who really respect Poch still rate him, say, listen, he made Spurs relevant. They haven't been relevant since he left. He had him in the Champions League competing every year,
and they didn't back him. When you start to worry about Chelsea next season, though, that's one. I'll be honest. When Poch started to get, I said it's because even if they had more games, that they're getting top 4 the way they're starting to look. They're starting to really find themselves. So while we're all Chelsea's a bit mad. Chelsea's a bit mad, definitely, yeah. But we do know that Poch is a good manager. I did want Poch from the beginning. I was ready to, I was excited about when everyone said, listen, Ten Hag's the manager. I went to see what the Ten Hag football was like. And I said, you know what? Bring that in. And I haven't wavered in this time. I've been really excited about Ten Hag getting it right. Now, it looks like we're getting another way. I just really hope that they make the choice to put themselves, because I don't want to say, I'll be really annoyed if after this guy, McKenna, we find a guy that's going to win us the league. McKenna's the one for stability. No, if Tuchel or whoever is the manager, let us get him now.
But you see the thing about, so how fussed are you with the name and the experience of the manager versus the longevity of the manager? So Tuchel usually stays a couple of years. He's got this reputation, fall out with people or doesn't really work out, etc. Can't really build the long-term project. Poch, look what he done with Spurs, fair enough, but since then hasn't really been that. But again, he's one who gets his teeth into the young players, develop them, versus inexperience, young, fresh, new ideas. Because the Tuchel criticism can be that, yeah, but it's only going to go good for the year, 18 months that everybody's dreading and saying, then what are you going to do? Change your mind after 18 months when it goes bad with Tuchel? because you're not project manager.
Well, but then at the same time, we're saying that we're allowed to change our opinion and get rid of. We're not doing the long-term thing. Them Alex Ferguson days, it seems like it's gone. Like we romanticize on that, thinking we're gonna get a manager that's gonna be here for 10 years and he's gonna do. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen
it's
anymore.
Done. That doesn't even happen.
Bad season, if a man has a bad season, we're saying, you know, he can go. So now let's forget about all of that now. So if you're telling me we're going to bring in a guy that's going to hold it down and be good for 2 to 3 years, bring him in. Because if you're telling me after 18 months we'll still change our mind on McKenna, then why are we wasting our time? Let's go for it. If we're getting short term, let's bring in short term class.
Eminem says 8th, well, minus goal difference, bottom of the group, more shots against than Luton, and 16th in expected points. How can Eric Ten Hag do better with only 400 million spent and all the say on transfers? Bit ironic there, I think, being a little bit, bit facetious there. RK, sarcastic as well, I was looking for. RK says, we will be McKenna out by December. Remember, Scott Maguire, Wan-Bissaka will all stay. No chance this fan base and players respect him and give time. Too early. Ebenezer says, are we going to hire a manager we sacked 3 years ago?
We did not sack him.
And he wanted to leave to, exactly.
I've seen that.
He just got offered his first job.
Offered the Ipswich job, and he left. Ralph Rangnick wanted to keep him.
Exactly. Kishan says, nothing has changed with INEOS. Same old leaks. One day before a final, fully undermining the manager. It's just Woodward yet again. John Sem says, KG, you're meant to be proactive. Hit your mark, man. I don't know what.
Because he wasn't in the right spot. And say when you meant to
hit
your mark,
right, sorry. Set. Oh, my bad. I thought it was a cuss. I was like, I don't want to read that. Is that rude? Okay, I get you. Big Game Player says, these players down tools 3 years ago with McKenna. Joe C says, should Xavi be on the United shortlist? Doesn't feel like it, does it? Kishan says these play. Kishan says the players seem to have won again. McKenna will love Rashford, Maguire, McTominay. Ollie era was led by these guys going backwards. Matt says INEOS better pray what they're planning works, because backlash from an already irate United fan base won't be pretty for their first season in charge. V says, Flex, where are you setting up after the game tomorrow? We'll be on Wembley Way, down the bottom of the steps of the stadium. We'll be there. You won't miss us. Mr. B says, KG going through it. He's been crying in his car. And Omar says, don't forget that there is still a group of players that undermined McKenna when he was an assistant under Ollie. We honestly need a new crop of players to support our young core in this reset too, which we can't discount. I mean, there is no guarantees that these players are all staying.
That's what's funny, isn't it? Because you have a super chat earlier on goes, McKenna's coming back, which means these players are going to stay. And then you get a super chat there go, well, these players undermined him several years ago, which would imply if that is the case, then they're definitely going to be out of here as well. My feeling is that whoever the next person is going to be, even if it was Eric Ten Hag staying, they're getting a different title. They're not going to be coming in, I don't think, as the Manchester United manager. They're probably going to be coming in as the first Manchester United head coach. And I think a lot of that stuff that maybe people worry about with players going, the manager's going to come in and he's going to want a fresh look at a lot of the players. I don't think that's going to be the case, because I think that's why people like Jason Wilcox and others are already there, is because they might say to this new manager who comes in, say, I know, Wan-Bissaka or whatever, they're not going to be here. They're going in the summer. It's not even about what you if you want them to stay or not, their surplus to requirements, they're going, because that's the structure's changing at Manchester United. So I do think, look, I'm with you guys. I think that McKenna coming to United, I think it's too early, too soon. The best move for him would be Brighton. I get it. At the same time, it's very difficult for him to say no if he gets.
Oh, he's not going to say no. Yeah, exactly.
He's not going to say no. But I do think also we need to be careful with the sort of, again, the narrative involved with some of these things, where it's like, this is going to mean that players are going to be staying. I've seen people say, oh, it's player power. Player power's got Eric Ten Hag sacked. For me, it's got very little to do with player power. It's INEOS power. INEOS power has got Eric Ten Hag, or will, if these reports are accurate, get him to lose his job, because they want to get their own guy in. It's not almost, the players are just a byproduct of it. Some of those players are going to stay. Some of them are going to go. You list like 3 or 4 of them. It's probably going to be playing their last game for Manchester United tomorrow. It hasn't got a lot to do with the players. It's got to do with the people. Yeah. It's got the people coming in that they want their own guy in charge.
Whatever they do, I'm gonna back the manager. That's the key. Whatever they do, they say it's gonna be McKenna. I'm gonna back McKenna. I think one thing for sure is we just have to go in the right direction. And I know it'll be good to have some commitment to the direction that we're going in, even if it's De Zerbi. De Zerbi's not my first choice. None of these not my first choice, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just a fan at the end of the day. These guys, like, they have to make the decision. If Omar and whoever's said that this is the guy, then it is what it is, you know, because we've made so many decisions that haven't gone our way. This was a resounding, everyone wanted Ten Hag to be the managers club, and it's going a mad way. It's not ending nicely. We've all said we all sang Oli at the Will. That ended like trash. We thought Jose Mourinho could get it done. Also ended like trash. So now it's just, you know what? We don't really know. Whoever comes in, I pray it works out. I pray they hit the ground running. I pray now that when we talk about real structure, that we start to see it. It just feels kind of. I just wish that we weren't as short-sighted. I get this was a bad season, but I would have given Ten Hag his next season to have a true look. Honestly, I would have given him with what's that thing called? With just the structure, I would have done that.
Yeah, to see, and that's how it feels for a lot of fans, where the manager seems like he's on his way out, but this isn't unanimous. Like when Oli got sacked, that 4-1 Watford on the floor, we got nothing left. Players are down tools. Oli even admitted that now recently. We could see it. It was over. Jose, I think it was 3-1 Liverpool away. I was there. I remember standing outside in the cold saying enough is enough. It's over. He has to go. That it was that, like, you can unanimously say everybody agrees it's over. This doesn't feel like that. And that's why this is a bit uncomfortable. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people who have said, nah, mate, Ten Hag, not the guy. Not for me. No, it's got to go. But there are a lot of people who were like, well, you just said there, KG, let him have next season. Look at these injuries. Look how bad. He hasn't had his squad this year. There's a lot of people who think that. Son of Fire says, fan channels like this have to take some responsibility too for amplifying and undermining our manager. I don't get. Really? I don't get that.
I remember after
we have to take responsibility that there's been loads of injuries. Eric Ten Hag's not had his favorite team. The tactics been poor, and we've got a -1 goal difference.
And I remember after, and you can't have it both ways. I remember after one. Do you remember, KG? As well, I forget which match view it was. I think we were losing one of the match views, and then some comments came in and they said, "KG, you happy now? Like, we're losing, and you back Eric Ten Hag." And KG, what a really good point. He went, I've got no influence. It's INEOS are the ones making the call when it comes to that. And it's like, and again, it's like with stuff with the news, isn't it? Like, we're fans. We digest like the positive news and the negative news. What we can't do, and what you'll be really careful is when you start to like censor certain news or editorialize certain news because you don't like it or anything like that. The reality of the situation is here today that Manchester United have held talks with Kieran McKenna. They haven't held talks with Kieran McKenna because of the Trinity powered by Dan Gore or anything like that. Like, it's just, no, it's just, and also as well, you then, again, it gets into that territory of, like you said earlier on, Flex, lots of people want Eric Ten Hag to stay. Some people want him to go as well. You've got to be careful getting into the territory of going like, well, if you want him to stay, you can't talk. Or if you want him to go, you can't talk. Everyone's got an opinion.
This is what you wanted.
Exactly. Well done. You've got what you wanted.
Crazy. Guess what? We've said powered by Dan Gore.
Why does that keep happening? Can you hear us all right?
What?
Are you delayed? I think he's delayed.
I can't.
No,
I'm delayed. Like there's poor internet, but I don't want to do anything about it. I'm just trying to fight with it. So there's little bits I'm hearing, and there's bits I'm not hearing at all.
KG's dealing. Are you hardwired? That's the question, KG.
Of course he's not.
Nah, I'm not hardwired.
One of the biggest shows.
Now I took it out because I was trying to play. I was trying to game the other day. So, and then I was having issues. It got worse. So I thought the wire wasn't a good thing for me. Anyway, I just quickly want to say this on this. What do you call it? I want to say that
on this. What you call it? I quickly want to say this on this.
I wanted to say, yeah. Oh man, I'm so annoyed because I'm just annoyed. This is what I really want to say. We talk about Dan Gore every week, yeah? Or I say things like Facundo and this, that, and the other. has it made a difference of me getting what I want in terms of they're saying you did this? When we say Facundo, do they think, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna start Facundo because of these fan channels. When we say, what do you call it, powered by Danko, they think, you know what? Do you know what kind of power we need in midfield? Dango. It does not work like that, bro. So when people are saying that it's the fan channels that are doing this, well, how? What level of power are you giving over the decision making at INEOS? Are they waiting to watch our videos and say that's what we're gonna do? Right now, I'm not a big McKenna fan, yeah. What do you call it? And Flex in the Lost video was talking about Southgate being better than Ollie. That was a big thing. Imagine they listen to that and say, you know what, we're gonna bring Southgate in. It doesn't work like that, guys. You have to really I get it, you respect these fan channels. Fan channels been screaming Glazers out for long. They don't listen, they don't care.
Well, and also as well, can you imagine the real, and this is a bit of breaking news, I suppose, as well. The line from Manchester United is they haven't made an official statement on Erik Ten Hag, and that's because the latest episode of the Trinity hadn't come out yet. They were waiting to see what we had to say first, and then obviously they were gonna go in with that was the reason why they haven't made an official comment. I mean, like you said, KG, it's like, I don't know. I think, do you know what it is? I think people like to lash out, don't they? I think people like to lash out and just. If in the absence of
we're in a position
in the absence of reason, people try and find it, don't they? I think that's what it is.
There's a video that's going around of just the team leaving to go to the probably to get on the train, and just there's just people up at the window just filming them, just having talks. They're on their phones, like it's carnage. I'm just looking at it now.
Wait, did you know there's a guy that's in here, yeah? Flex, there's a guy in here that says, you lot see the news and choose your context, yeah, for it. And I'm like, well, that's what we have to do. We're going to see from our context, we'll react to news and just see how we're disseminating what we're seeing and talk about it. That's our literal job. So I don't understand why that's a problem. I look at the news and think, what does that mean? Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Like turning on any news program. Let alone a fan channel. That's like turning on Sky Sports News and going, part of the problem. Like going on BBC News, news at 6. This is part of the problem. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like
this is the reason.
That's the day and age that it is, isn't it? And then the aim is to offer up the news, and then you can come up with your own opinion on it. I mean, that's just how it is.
Dwayne says, I don't care who the manager is anymore at this point. These players have to go in the next 2 seasons. And Premium says, disgrace this on the eve of the cup final. Joke club. And Mr. Ipswich Town fan comes in and says, please don't take McKenna. I mean, no one's taking the time out to think about how Ipswich fans are feeling right now. Omar says, I don't think it's an attack on the United view per se. It's just reactionary fan channels that get triggered over every loss. But I think that's the beauty of fan channels. God bless KG having our back on places like the Kickoff and DR Sports. Fair enough, Omar. Fair point.
A big super chat from Omar, that. Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I didn't even realize. Yeah, my God. Yeah, big up to Omar. That is a very sizable super chat. Big up, Omar. Well done, bro. Thank you for the support. And valid point. V says, don't blame United view.
Can you imagine if Erik Ten Hag comes out after the exit and goes, well, I thought it was going well for me, but United view, they let me down.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen those guys in real life, and they were all right.
Exactly.
They wanted me out. Can't believe it. Owen Thompson says, McKenna will fail, calling it now. 12th place, 24-25 season. Lars says, just skip and go back. Lars says, people constantly talk about how they want us to get players, managers, etc. before the smart clubs get them. But when a scenario arises, they prefer the safety net, LOL. Not everyone, of course. And Kishan says the next manager will have an even bigger challenge than Erik Ten Hag, as they will have Erik Ten Hag, Ole, Jose, LVG players. If they finish 8th, are we saying sack them and make it worse for the next one? Football or Soccer says no one was complaining about fan channels when we got Erik Ten Hag, but all of a sudden it's a problem because you don't get what you want. Crybabies, laughing emoji. And K Flow has gifted 5 memberships as well. Big up to you, K Flow. And Riri has doubled down on that and doubled that. Says I'll raise you 5. Riri's gifted 10 UV memberships here on the Trinity podcast. And the halftime with Vegeta says the club standards in the floor. Dan, as in Dan Ashraf or Dango?
Dango.
The club standards on the floor.
Oh, Dango. 2024.
Dango. I want to go 2025. It's not going to sound the same, is it?
2025. Keep it alive with Dango. Come on, gotta get this guy's guy.
It's just the goal. It always has to.
Yeah.
It always has the thing.
No, you can say it's not 2024. Dango.
Not 2024 anymore with Dango.
It's 2025, not 2024 with Dango. Yeah, you have to do that. Guys, over 2,500 people tuned in for the show because, again, it's a big one. You know what I mean? There's just loads to talk about, loads of opinion. You can already see, I'm not going to call it volatility, but the disparities between both sides. There's people saying INEOS are a joke. It's just the same as the Glazers. We're doomed. These men have come in. They're absolutely a joke thing. They're not going to change anything. It's exactly the same. Right at the beginning of this thing when they're making big changes. There's people saying this is a stupid thing to do before the final. Disgraceful to Eric Ten Hag. There's people saying, finally, thank God, Eric Ten Hag's going to go. I didn't believe in this. This had to happen. INEOS is actually doing some serious work here by unpicking everything. I'm happy. There's so much. There's so much to unpick. And in the name of fan channels, that's what it's about, isn't it? Opinion. But one thing we do know is...
I'm getting...
Go on.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'm just waiting for the cats. I'm waiting for the gaps, but I can't tell.
Well, I was going to say two things. First of all, we have 2,500 people watching. We're currently at close to 800 likes. If you haven't already, 200 extra people, click the like button. Let's get it to 1,000 likes. And those 2,500 people that are here right now, when this stream finishes, when it ends, you'll be redirected over to KG, the comedian, on his channel. Some reckless thoughts about Eric Ten Hag and Kieran McKenna and all that fun stuff. He's recently hit 40K. Hey, maybe there's 1,000 people in here that haven't subscribed already. Go over there, sample it, and while you're there, click subscribe too as well. Maybe then you can get some good internet. You never know.
And what I would like us to do now, I would like KG to outro the show because he is behind us. So I'd like him to take the reins and outro the show. Owen, you're on the buttons, ready for the call.
You're taking the piss. You want me to do the outro? I just heard that little bit. I just ciao. Anyway, I'll just say this. Listen, people, don't forget to like and subscribe. We got FA Cup final tomorrow. Doesn't feel like it, but let's see what happens. Hopefully, we're going to be ready. Owen is going to be here first, announcing team news. I'm going to jump in. We're going to remember we do have a final tomorrow and something to look forward to. It is silverware. There's still a chance. Make sure you're with us. Follow me. Make sure you get on my channel in 10 minutes, but make sure tomorrow you're here. We're going for it. Let's win something. Let's put out on the bang. Go on, Fleck.
And there are some super chats here. Kenny Fan TV says 7 managers sacked in 11 years. And Don F says breaking news: billionaire invests $3 billion and decides to make changes. Yes, this is funny. Zoteng TV says INEOS, Eric Ten Hag out. Glory, glory, Man United. We are back. Fraud manager, says Zoteng manager. But yeah, on that, KG said all the pleasantries. You know what to do. Head over to there right now. We're out of here, guys. Take care. Peace.